The iPhone 16e, the cheapest, most expensive iPhone ever. This iPhone costs $600, has the newer design of the iPhone 16s, only has one lens, 60Hz, and it has USB-C. I've spent 2 weeks with it, let's review it. The iPhone 16e was launched a month ago, and when I looked at it, I thought, this is a very weird iPhone. This is a compromised version of the iPhone 16, but it's neither an iPhone 16 or an iPhone SE. This does not cover the market that the iPhone SE served, while the iPhone 16e does also not cover the market that serves the iPhone 16. So, which market is the iPhone SE for? Well, simple. The iPhone 16e is that device for people that want the newest and shiniest iPhone. They want the newest and shiniest screen, but they don't want to pay one dime more than they need to. So the iPhone SE is to be in the Apple Store whenever you walk in and you say, I want the cheapest iPhone available. And they will give you this. You look at it, you think, oh, kind of looks like the newest iPhone. And then you decide, I will grab it. For the design of this iPhone, in the last 2 weeks I thought, it's pretty cool. The smaller design and smaller chassis of this iPhone made it very easy to handle it around. It's very portable when compared to my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is huge. This beast right here is massive compared to my iPhone 16e. So whenever I switched from the 16 Pro Max to the iPhone 16e, I felt the difference immediately. This iPhone is so much smaller, so much lighter, and so in everyday use feels so much better. I think that my experience with the iPhone 16e taught me something. I will buy the newest and shiniest iPhone 17 Pro whenever it comes out, but in the smaller size. I'm done with big iPhones, I want smaller iPhones from now on. This iPhone is very compact, it has a 6.1-inch screen, but it's even smaller than the newest iPhone 16. So if you want the smallest iPhone available right now, you need to grab the iPhone 16e. This display is also good. This has an OLED display, a 6.1-inch OLED display that is also 60Hz. No 120Hz, just like the iPhone 16. I don't think that's a big difference between this and the Pro iPhones. In the last 2 weeks, I haven't noticed that big of a difference, not having 60Hz, of having 60Hz. I noticed the difference between the two displays. Obviously, one feels smoother than the other, but you don't really actually care about it after 1 hour of use. So, if you don't really care about every other feature, like better cameras, better overall performance, and of course, bigger displays, then if you don't care about 60Hz, the iPhone SE is a great option for you. $600, $599 is the option that you should consider whenever you go into the Apple Store. But if you love cameras, if you love better performance, if you love even better screens, bigger screens, smaller bezels, the iPhone 16 is not for you. This iPhone does not have the newest and shiniest Dynamic Island. That's a feature that I think it's very, very useful. Dynamic Island started off quite slow. I think it was a weird feature at first because developers was not actually taking in and not getting the best out of it. Well, now, after 4 years, I think, 3 years since the iPhone 14 Pro launched, the iPhone 16e does not have the Dynamic Island. And you start to notice in the UI not having Dynamic Island. Whenever you call an Uber, it does not appear on top. Whenever you call for an Uber Eats, it does not appear how much time you left on top. Whenever you go into a airport, you have a flight. If you use the Flighty app, it does not show you how much time is left until your flight. And those small things do not appear on the iPhone 16e. Whenever if you buy a parking ticket, for example, you're going to park your car on a public space, there's an app that shows you how much time you have left in your ticket, which is weird, yes, but it's so useful whenever you use it. And the iPhone 16e does not show you that. This iPhone also does not have an always-on display, something that at first I was very critical about. I was not using it. I turned it off because it consumed lots of battery. But with time, Apple proved it to be a very, very useful feature. And so, the iPhone 16e does not have always-on display. So, yeah, it compromises in some things that make the iPhone cheaper, but it might be a deal breaker for you. As for the aluminum body and the overall durability of this iPhone, in the last 2 weeks, I've not noticed any scratch or any dent on the aluminum body because I've come from an iPhone that has titanium, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and if you are coming from an iPhone 14 Pro or 15 Pro or 16 Pro, you'll have more premium materials. If you are coming from a 13 Pro, 12 Pro, you will have stainless steel. But if you are coming from an iPhone 15 Pro, whatever, don't do it. You are coming from a titanium body. Just like me, I'm coming from a 16 Pro Max. I'm used to having a titanium body. This iPhone does not have that, it has an aluminum body. And if you love light iPhones, this is the best one because it's so light in the hand, like it feels super light. Although Apple will launch the iPhone 17 Air So I'm super excited to see what a smaller, thinner, and lighter iPhone means. But this 16e is the first taste of that for me. It's so beautiful, so minimal to look at. If you want the most minimal iPhone available, if you want the most minimal phone in the market with iOS, with access to FaceTime, to iMessage, and all the apps on the App Store, this iPhone is for you. Trust me, the most minimal iPhone for sure. The display is minimal, the design is minimal, the camera bump is minimal. All about this iPhone is compromise, minimalism, and of course, the cheapest iPhone you can buy right now. The action button. The action button on this iPhone is truly one of its most unique features. This is something that I was not expecting to have on a budget phone. Again, this is a button that can enable you to have any type of shortcut, any type of action happen with your device. For example, you want to open your gate at home. You can create a shortcut with the action button, click it, and it will activate it. For me, I have my Blackmagic camera app. So whenever I click it, it will open up the Blackmagic camera app. If you want to have the ChatGPT prompt there, you can. So whenever you want to ask ChatGPT something, you just click here on the action button. It will open up ChatGPT. That's useful. And you have so much more. There's an infinite universe of things you can do with the action button. And it's so cool. I thought Apple would actually make it exclusive for the iPhone 16 Pro Max, 16 Pro, 15 Pro, whatever, and even the iPhone 16s, but not the cheapest iPhone. No, they changed it. They put it on the iPhone 16e. One thing that you don't have is the camera control, just like the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro Max that do have the camera control. You don't have it right here. But if you want my opinion on camera control, I've been using the iPhone 16 Pro Max for like 6 months now, more, 7 months. I've not used it consistently. So it's a gimmick, in my opinion. It's a useful gimmick sometimes, but it's quite of a gimmick. And if you ask me, if Apple removed it tomorrow, I wouldn't notice. Again, if I use the iPhone 15 Pro, which does not have the camera control, I don't really care about it. So it's not a big thing that is not available on the iPhone 16e. One thing that it's big is the action button, and it's right here. Performance and battery life on this phone have been quite impressive. The iPhone 16e features the A18 chip, the same chip as the iPhone 16, but with one withdrawal. It does have one less GPU core. That's it. Yes, you nerds might be very hungry. I'm not. You can't notice any difference. This chip, super fast, does not throttle one bit. You can open up all the apps, all games, all social media. You can publish things, you can export things very fast. This iPhone is lightning fast, and in my opinion, completely overkill in terms of performance. But one thing that is actually useful having a very powerful chip that does not need to ramp up that much is efficiency. And so these phones are very efficient. This has a smaller battery than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, for example, but it lasts me as long as that phone. It has a smaller display, it does not have 120 Hz, and it does not have the A18 Pro chip. And so it can actually last me 2 days. Again, with my experience, I've consistently hit 2 days of use with this iPhone. In the beginning, in the first week, I've done that. And in the first week is when your battery life will be the worst. Simply because your phone is updating, your phone is downloading things from the cloud. Right now, the battery life is great. Really good. And for a $600 iPhone with this good of a battery, even better than the iPhone 16, is quite impressive. And now the cameras. Yes, the part that you are most actually excited for. The cameras on every phone are the driver for innovation right now. Every single year, brands like to innovate on their cameras and say, no, this one is better. No, this one is better. Actually, every camera is good nowadays, but the iPhone 16e has some compromises. This iPhone only has one lens, and that's the biggest compromise that Apple could have made. Again, one lens limits you. This phone only has 2 focal lenses, the normal 24 to 26mm, and then the 48 to 50mm crop-in on the 40 megapixel main sensor. And that's it. No ultra-wide and no 5x telephoto. Again, if you own the iPhone 16, you are familiar with the fact that you don't have a telephoto lens, but you do have an ultra-wide lens. So, only having one lens is actually very limiting. In my experience, using this phone, I've actually missed the ultra-wide lens very much. The telephoto, you can do. Like, you can zoom in further using the crop-in. You can use, like, your feet. You can move closer. While the ultra-wide lens, it gives you a different look. It gives you this fisheye look. Gives you this different perspective of the scene that it's different to replicate and very difficult to replicate with a normal sensor, like a 24mm sensor. So again, if you are a camera-focused tech enthusiast, don't buy the iPhone 16e. You will be disappointed with the cameras. Even the quality of the main sensor is not the same as the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I've noticed that. I went dining out with my girlfriend. noticed when I took a picture, the quality is not the same. Even on low light conditions on a restaurant, it's not the same. So you notice when you are using it, you notice the difference in quality. And if you love taking photos, even if you like jump up for the iPhone 16, you will notice the difference. And even that phone will have a bigger camera and better camera than that. So if you are a camera guy and you want to save money, I will not advise you to buy the iPhone 16e. Even buying the iPhone 16, go for the iPhone 15 Pro. I think it's a better option. It will give you a 5x or 3x depending on which iPhone you buy. If you buy the 15 Pro Max, currently around $800 to $900, you will get a 5x telephoto, great, the same as the 16 Pro Max. You will get an amazing 40 megapixel main sensor, much better and bigger than this one that can take much better low light photos. And you will get an incredible ultra-wide camera. That is not 40 megapixels, just like my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but it is 12 and is much better than not having none, just like the iPhone 16e. So this phone is a very specific phone. It serves a very specific market. I'm not saying it's not a good phone. I'm not saying it's a good deal. I'm just saying it's weird. It's weird that Apple bumped up the price of the iPhone SE. Whenever they used to sell it for $400, they bumped up the price for $450. Now they are selling this one for $600. My expectations is that they will lower the price with time. So next year they will lower it for like $550, and then 2 years from now, $500, and they will end up selling it for like $400. Let's just wait and see. But this proposition right now for $600, it's difficult to actually recommend. Because with $600, you can actually get an iPhone 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max. If you want to see that comparison, I will have it on my channel in a couple of weeks. But the iPhone 16e, if you focus on it, solely on the iPhone 16e, is not a bad deal. It gives you lots of things. And for $600, for companies, for people looking for several iPhones, for people looking for minimalistic iPhones, easy to use, grandparents, kids, this is an amazing option. Not that expensive. It's expensive, yes, but not that expensive. And it will serve you 80% of what a normal iPhone, like an iPhone 16e, or even the best iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro, can give you. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the iPhone 16e. Would you buy it? Would you use it? I've used it for 2 weeks, replaced my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I lived with it. I'm not saying I enjoyed it that much. I did, but I could live with it. So we need to learn to live with less and to actually adjust our expectations. This is a normal iPhone that I bet you can live with, and give it a try. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.